Ahead and jump into the first question. This has been dominating the news. It's everywhere. People are on fire talking about this topic, and it's Charlie Kirk, right? What was his impact and his legacy on American politics? It's been turbulent several weeks since his death. He left a legacy that is loved by some, hated by others. And so, what are your thoughts on Charlie Kirk's legacy on American politics?
I think for me, Charlie Kirk, I've been listening to him for a few years now, especially around the last election. I found him, and I would like to play a video where Megan explains who Charlie is, and I think in a very profound and simple way.
Have you ever talked to Charlie Kirk?
No.
All right, let me tell you why I like Charlie. He's a whippersnapper. He's like in his young 30s. He is loathed by most establishment Republicans. And every time he comes on, they're like, ew, we hate him. I love him. He's really loathed by the left. He didn't go to college, was Don Jr.'s bagman in 2016.
No kidding.
Started Turning Point USA, and now he's a juggernaut. He is hosting conference after conference to generate enthusiasm amongst young people for conservative values. He knows Trump like a Trump whisperer. He can explain all things Trump to you. He's got a great sense of humor and an encyclopedic memory, and he's in the lion's den all the time fighting these wars. Have you ever talked to Charlie Kirk?
I think that video does a good job at explaining it. He was not loved by either side, partly because he tried to walk the line of reasoning. There were a lot of things that he did in his organization that people disagreed with. For example, he had members of the LGBT community on his staff that were conservative Christians. And for him, it wasn't about what your lifestyle choices were. It was, can you stand behind the values of a conservative right platform that Turning Point stood for?
Yeah, so for me, right, I mean, when I observe the events over the last 2 weeks, there's no question that Charlie Kirk has and continues to touch the lives of many people, not just in the US, but around the world as well, right, in some places. But when we talk about legacy, in order to make a true assessment of anyone's legacy, it requires some time to pass. So what I would say is we'll need to observe how the next few years go and make a better assessment of what Charlie Kirk's legacy is going to be.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. It's undoubtedly, a powerful legacy. I'll say that it's one that I admire, but I don't idolize. He wasn't perfect by any standard. But here's what he did that was so powerful to me. He normalized this idea of having difficult conversations in difficult places, often with civility and respect. He resonated with millions, if not billions of people. You look at his stats on TikTok, it's incredible how many people watched his videos. Again, there are things that he said I don't agree with. He said things in a tone that I would not use, but I think it's logically unfair to call him a racist. It's logically unfair to call him a hate monger or white supremacist. People extract like 10-second clips or one sentence from his 3-hour podcast and create these formulations based on who he is. And I think that's logically unfair. Again, I don't agree with everything that he said, the tone he said it in. There are things I disagree with, but to categorize him as this hate-filled person, I think it's really unfair. The one cool effect of his legacy that I will say, and this is unexpected. To be honest, I hadn't listened to more than 5 minutes of Charlie Kirk until he was assassinated. And after I started watching him, I thought, wow, this guy was pretty bold. He was pretty courageous. But the unintended effect that I didn't see was people started going back to church and reading their Bible. I want to share this tweet with you guys. This is someone that posted on the Turning Point USA website here, or their Facebook group. This is a lady by the name of Melissa Gillen. She said, I admit that before that dreadful day, I had never heard of Charlie Kirk nor TPUSA. I listened to videos after his death was announced. I watched his memorial on Sunday and I became inspired. Because of all that I heard and witnessed, I made the decision to share about God every day. I will no longer be bashful about sharing the gospel. I've asked God to use me to his glory. And so, there are millions of stories, like that. And it's pretty incredible, right? To hear the number of people that have been inspired by their faith to read the Bible or go back to church or start sharing the gospel more. So I think that's a cool effect of his legacy that you should celebrate if you're a Christian, whether you liked him or not.
No, I think you bring up some good points about his legacy. I think like the second question will start addressing some of those topics.